Good morning. I'm Crystal with Whole New Perspective. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Today what I want to talk about is dehydration. My sister asked me to share some simple videos that anyone could do, whether it's in canning or dehydrating. So I thought about bringing this video to you. And also, someone reached out and several people made comments that they had dehydrators, but they just weren't sure what to dehydrate. So I'm hoping by the end of this video, you'll have some ideas on things that you can dehydrate. I have the Excalibur dehydrator, but listen, you don't need a dehydrator to be able to dehydrate. As long as your oven goes to a pretty low setting, you can dehydrate in your oven. And not only in your oven, there are things that you can hang up to dry. Now, if you watched my very first Monday Night Live, then you'll know that dehydrating is the oldest form of preservation. And things that you can hang up to dry, I have a lot of things in front of me, and I'll just share those things with you. I will hold some of them up, and then at the end, I may just go around and share those things with you. A lot of these herbs I grew in my own garden. And so I was able to dry those things. Some I dried with my dehydrator. Some I just laid flat on my counter until they dehydrated. And others, or until they dried. This is rosemary, very easy to hang up to dry. This is my sage. I actually hung this up to dry, but I have so many herbs that I dry. This is my basil. And again, you can hang these things up to dry. This is a mint oregano mixture. And the reason this is because I got myself confused with when I had my oregano and mint drying, and I ended up mixing them. So that's okay because I can still use this in teas. And that's how I use my mint a lot of times. And oregano is also a very good thing to use in teas. This is raspberry leaves. I use that in tea. Almost all of these things, lemon thyme, I can cook with all of these things. This is my dill that I grew. This is just more mint. I use this every day, and I do have lots and lots of backups. This is bay leaves that I grow. Lemongrass. I did grow this lemongrass, but my lemongrass died back and I don't have any more, so I may need to plant some of that. This is actually horseradish. I use this quite a bit, especially when I'm making my fire cider. I like that. I use this ginger every day. This is ginger that I grew. I'll show you a picture of that ginger. This is lavender. I used a lot of my lavender as I was growing it. And this is just lemon peels that I ground. I like to use that when I'm making lemon muffins. And then greens. Any type of greens that I have, I like to dehydrate, and I put them in this jar, and I use this for smoothies. This is moringa, collards, mustards, beet greens, all sort of greens, different kales and spinaches, all in this jar. And then I like to use that in my smoothies. You can dehydrate a lot of fruit. Orange slices, lemon slices. This is actually cantaloupe. This is mango. I also have bananas. I dehydrate pineapples. This is actually blueberries. So I dehydrate an array of things, and you can do the same thing. But what I'm going to dehydrate now, and I'm going to put it on my dehydrator, is this mixed vegetables. Now I buy these bags, and I like to utilize them in soups and stews and things like that. But then when I open them, sometimes they clump up. I haven't even opened this, and it has clumped up. So I'm going to open it, and then I'm just going to put it out on my dehydrating trays and allow it to dehydrate. I'll show you, this is what it looks like after it's dehydrated, because that's exactly what this is, mixed vegetables. And I also have some green peas. So this is a very, very easy way to get into dehydrating. You know, pull out those dehydrators now. Pick up something that you may have in your freezer, whether it's a vegetable or a fruit, and go ahead and dehydrate it. And again, if you don't have a dehydrator, use your oven. Use your oven. You can certainly dehydrate in your oven as well. And another thing that you can do, especially with your herbs, you can hang them to dry. Or like me, I think I did show it in a video, I laid them flat on my counter and then I would just move them. I would just move them when I walked by them throughout the day, and they dried just fine. So after I dehydrate these, then I'm going to be jarring them up just like I did this one. And I'll bring you back and I'll show you that. I'll show you once I get it into the dehydrator. If you all remember from my dehydrating my bone broth, I don't keep my dehydrator out on my counter. I keep it away on my dining room table. And so I'm going to go ahead, and I still need to allow this to thaw out just a little. And then I'll go ahead and get this dehydrated. And I want to get it in there early this morning so that it dehydrates throughout the day, because tomorrow we're supposed to have rain. And that's the other thing. It takes your things to a lot longer to dehydrate if you have moisture in the air. And so I want to get this dehydrated today. So listen, thank you so much for coming along with me. I hope those of you that have reached out that have dehydrators and you just have not opened them, I hope this gives you some ideas on things you can dehydrate. I hope that you pull those dehydrators out and just start dehydrating your food because they will store a lot longer. These, I don't even remember when I dehydrated this. This is the latest one that I dehydrated. I have another one in my cabinets that I dehydrated in 2020, the dates on that one. So this was probably dehydrated last year in 2022. But some of these things have been dehydrated for a very long time. But a lot of them, I use them on a regular basis, and then I have backup somewhere else. So pull out the dehydrators, get dehydrating with me. Thank you so much for coming along with me. Please go ahead and jar it up. If you have not done so, participate in this hashtag Jar It Up 2023 challenge and just show us what you are dehydrating. Give us some ideas. Some people are doing some great things and we love to see it. So yes, get those dehydrators out and let's get this going. Thanks again.
Just wanted to show you what it looks like on a dehydrator before it's dehydrated. Now I have it in my dehydrator, getting ready to dehydrate.
So it took the vegetables a lot longer to unthaw than I thought. So I ended up putting this in the dehydrator overnight on a very low setting. And I'll show you what this looks like. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to put them in this jar. And this is when I take an opportunity to reuse jars, whether I'm using a jar like this or one of these jars. I just take these jars and reuse them. So that's all I'm going to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill the jars right now. I like using these sheets. This does roll all over the place. So I was very careful when I got them out of my dehydrator. This is I think they called it, when I purchased it, like a fruit roll-up type of sheet. But I have made fruit roll-ups in the past, but I usually use them for things like this and my herbs to keep my dehydrator sheet from being so sticky. Because it does get sticky and the herbs will definitely stick to it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna continue to load this jar. I'll bring you back and show you how much it is inside the jar. This is what I've ended up with. So the bag, this is what I have. Now, the way that I like to use this is in really anything that I would use the frozen vegetables, but it really comes in handy when you're throwing it into soups. You want a quick meal, you open up a quick jar of your canned, chicken, throw it inside there because I can my chicken in broth, I can just throw this in there with it and I can just have some good old vegetables and chicken soup. So this just comes in really handy, and I got it out of my freezer. It was taking up a lot of freezer space. It had frozen like a rock in there, and so here we go. Thank you guys for joining me through my dehydration process and watching me jar it up. If you'd like to, there's still time to join in the hashtag Jar It Up 2023 challenge. Come on and join me. Have a wonderful day.
Make sure that it's fully dehydrated before you put it in your jars, because if it's not, you will end up with mold. And that's the last thing you want, is to have to throw away your hard work.